This is the MMA Latest Asia Podcast! Welcome back everyone to MMA Latest Asia Podcast episode 4. And once again, we always have special guests for you. And it has been a theme in all our podcasts that we have fighters with undefeated streaks going on. And this is no different. But before I introduce to you your guest, we would like to introduce my partner in crime, MMA latest editor Bremono Lunardi. How are you, man?
Very good, thank you, Wadi. How are you?
Okay, I'm good. I'm excited to introduce our guest. It's 16-0. That's 0 for you. Undefeated Indonesian pioneer of MMA, Fransino Tirta. Fransino, how are you?
Good. How are you, Wadi?
Alright, very good. But before we start off with round 1, we would like to have a short introduction from yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Fransino Tirta. Right now, I have MMA record 16 wins, 0 losses. People considered me as Indonesia's best MMA fighter and grappler.
Yep.
But I think it's now debatable now because now Indonesia has their own show, One Pride, and we have lots of good fighters now in Indonesia.
Alright, we're gonna talk about One Pride a little bit later, but before we go on for the round, it's very simple. The format of the podcast, there's 3 rounds, 3 topics. First round will go for 10 minutes, basically everything focused on our guest. Second round, 5 minutes, and third round is 5 minutes as well. 10 seconds before the round ends, I will bang my table 3 times, just like how you see it in an MMA fight. And of course, there will be the air horn. Alright, so first up, before we start off everything, I just wanna say, back then in 2003, according to Shedok, that was your first MMA pro fight. But before Shedok happens, before TPIFC happens, what started you into MMA? Let's get it on, Francino.
Well, what started me in MMA is I was playing soccer back then, and I fought with one of the friend.
On the soccer field?
Yes, on the soccer field. It is very normal in Indonesia to fight in a soccer game.
Okay.
It's very, very normal. If you don't like losing, you fight. If you're winning, your opponent doesn't accept it, you fight. It's very common. What's not common is the fight itself, because usually whenever fight happens, people will separate the fight, right? But this time, nobody separate the fight. So I was fighting for like 3 minutes maybe, and that is the longest fight I have ever in my life in the street fight. And I was very, very tired back then because I didn't realize fighting is very tiring.
All right.
And later that night, I watched UFC, and I realized that there's a position in a UFC fight where I was in a real fight, and in a real fight, I didn't know what to do. So I'm thinking like, shit, I gotta learn this martial art because I don't want to happen again. I don't want to be in a situation where I don't know what to do in a fight. So then I start looking for jiu-jitsu school, and
in Indonesia.
I found one in my college. No, not BJJ. Back then, BJJ is there is no BJJ back then.
Okay. Then what
It's
do you
Japanese
had? Japanese jiu-jitsu in Indonesia.
Yes, in Indonesia, in my college.
This is the
But Japanese
Bantar Angin
jiu-jitsu
club.
very, very different.
All right.
Is that this is the Bantar Angin?
Yes, Bantar Angin.
It's still alive right now.
Yes, it is still alive.
Wow. All right. So just basically what you had was just Japanese jiu-jitsu, but before that there was no stand-up training.
I used to train taekwondo, but not really good at it. I think I was just a blue belt back then.
All right. So what happened from not being good at taekwondo and just taking Japanese jiu-jitsu to becoming probably one of the best MMA fighters in Indonesia?
Well, in taekwondo, I never compete in taekwondo, so I don't know if I'm good or not at taekwondo. But when I I think, to be fair, I'm quite good at fighting in the street. To be fair.
So you had
Because
a lot of experience in street fighting. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not saying that I have a lot of experience, but I never lost in a street fight. But because usually whenever I fought in the street, people will separate the fight, so nobody wins, nobody lose, nobody wins, right? Unless that time when I fought in a soccer field, it was 3 minutes, 2-on-1.
Uh-huh. All right. 3 minute 2-on-1 fights in a soccer field to becoming one of the best fighters in Indonesia. But seriously, I just wanted to know that journey. What propelled you to become there? Like you cannot be giving advice to people that if you fight in the street and then you just take Japanese jiu-jitsu or you take some taekwondo and then probably you become the best fighter in your country. What happened there? What made you become that good? That is what I want to know.
I think I got lucky. What I mean by lucky is, let me tell you what I mean by get lucky.
Okay.
Because back then in 2002, nobody really do MMA, which means boxers only play boxers, wrestling only play wrestle. So nobody really trained MMA.
It's like early MMA, early days of MMA, like 1990s in the US. Style versus style,
Exactly.
boxer versus
Understand.
boxer versus grappler.
Understand.
But I was very lucky because I'm interested in any martial art. So when I start joining MMA, I met a lot of fighters, right? And those fighters came from boxing, they came from wrestling, and I'm one of those smart fighters who train with them. I think back then I'm the only fighters who train cross training, who did cross training. I trained wrestling, I trained boxing, I trained jiu-jitsu, BJJ, and eventually I train everything that I think necessary to help my MMA game.
That's understandable. Okay, so that, as much as you might say that you are lucky or probably you took cross training seriously, but as much as you humble yourself, we remembered the fight you had with Herbert Burns in IBC. Even though it's a grappling contest, it shows that you are not as far off the level as probably one of the best in one championship.
Well, thank you for your compliment.
Yeah, but that's true. What do you feel after that fight with Herbert Burns?
And remember, Herbert fought at featherweight. You fought at bantam.
Exactly.
Yeah, let me tell you the crazy story behind this.
All right.
Because the guy, the promoter of the event is one of my student, Andy Koniwan, right?
Okay.
And in Indonesian BJJ is not really well known, right? Nobody would say that Indonesia BJJ is good. Nobody would say that. But to be reckoned as a good BJJ, I think you should. I think somebody from Indonesia have to fight world champion.
That's true.
A Brazilian world champion is a very good option. So I decide to, you know what? I will fight Brazilian world champion in the jiu-jitsu game, just to prove that Indonesia is good at jiu-jitsu. So my first choice is Leandro Issa.
Man, that's too huge for you.
Yeah, but he's small. He's my size.
All right.
He's my size.
All right.
Right? I mean, I don't know if he's too big for me or not, but he is my size, and he is a Brazilian guy, and he is a world champion.
Yeah, and he's in the UFC. Yeah.
He fought. I mean, it's MMA. It's not the same. Jiu-jitsu and MMA is not the same. So
no, it's better exposure.
It's better exposure, but I think I have bigger chance to fight Brojinho than Herbert because he's my size. That's the number one reason. He's my size.
Same weight class.
Same weight class.
Yeah.
So I propose to have a grappling match with him, but apparently he's not interested because he's a UFC and I'm not in UFC. So it doesn't happen, right? So my next option is to have Herbert Burns, which is not very ideal for me because he's bigger than me. But then there's nobody else, Like we cannot fly Brazilian guy from Brazil or from US. The only option is to fly Brazilian guy from Singapore to have a grappling match. And Herbert accepted, so I'm thinking, let's just do it,
And then after that fight, this is what we feel. I think a lot of kind of haters or doubters of your skill level apparently shut up, and I was thinking that was the best part to propel you back into one championship and go for a fight, but nothing happened. What happened?
Well, first of all, I have this injury that's never healed up because I have this really, really old injury. My wrist is really bothering me every time I train. You know, actually, every time I spar anything, it starts to hurt again. So I cannot really train properly for my, for my training camp. And then second, I got this opportunity to do this show, to be a promoter of Indonesian MMA. So it took a lot of my time because for me, I think at my position right now, if I want to fight any fight, I think I have to do a full training camp. I don't want to do it, halfway. If I have to do it halfway, I don't want to do it, you know.
That is totally understandable. But at your age right now, you are 35. Do you think that age is already catching up on you for your next fight?
Yes, I mean, I don't think age is really catching up on me because I think I'm still fit. The only reason right now for me is not fighting is because the injury and my weight, because it's really hard for me to maintain my weight on my fight weight.
Food has been good to you then.
Food and life has been good.
All right, Brad, you have any questions for Francino?
So, so what I, with the so we're not going to see you fight pretty soon, at least with the injury and and your current project. So, probably touching base to the One Pride part. How did you end up with the with Viva Group, and then becoming a receive this opportunity as a promoter? How did it happen?
Well, a friend of mine introduced me with the Bakri family, RD to be exact. He introduced me, and he actually have been believe it or not, he's turned out to be a fan of me for quite some time. So they arrange a meeting, me and him, we meet up, and then we talk about. We talk about MMA basically, and basically we discuss about how I was set with Indonesian MMA because usually Indonesian MMA who fought in international fight show, they only bring to lose. You know what I mean?
It did.
I've seen Indonesian fighters, losing in international fight, and it makes me sad. Even though I'm not friends with them, but still they're my country fellow men. So I was telling Ardi that the reason why we're not in that level yet, because when I was young, I have that MMA scene, MMA world, TPI Fighting Championship, and I was fighting very active there, and that's what makes me who I am. But for nowadays fighters, they don't have that. We don't have that MMA stage. We don't have that MMA organization, MMA league in Indonesia. So we have to create that. So Ardi agreed to that, and then let's do that. And then he asked me to Fransino, grab a team, do this MMA thing, and let's see what we can do.